Okay, imagine this. You find an online betting site, you do your homework, make some smart plays, and, well, you actually start winning consistently.
Yeah, not just luck, but like repeatable success.
Exactly. And then, bam, suddenly you hit a wall, your account gets restricted, maybe your betting limits just plummet.
Or you even get banned entirely. You're left thinking, what on earth just happened?
It feels completely backward, right? I mean, the ads are all about the big wins.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So this deep dive, it's looking into that less glamorous side of things.
Yeah.
What actually happens if you get too good at winning?
Right. We've been digging into a recent analysis that really shines a light on this whole area. And our mission today is, well, to figure out why this happens, how these sites spot the consistent winners, and, what it tells us about how the online betting business really works.
So you can be properly informed.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, the first thing the source makes really clear is that, look, despite the fun image, many of these big sites are basically sophisticated risk managers. Right, risk management operations. That makes sense.
Yeah, they have to control their exposure. And someone who wins consistently. From their perspective, that's a variable cost they need to manage.
A cost, not a customer they celebrate. So they're not really set up to just pick out endless winnings to really sharp players.
Not the mainstream ones, generally. So if you start cutting into their profit margins regularly, you bet their systems flag you. The analysis talks about these pretty advanced algorithms.
Algorithms constantly profiling user behavior. Okay.
And this is where it gets really interesting. It's not just that you're winning.
It's how you're winning.
Exactly. The research points to things like consistently finding value bets.
Where the odds are slightly off in your favor.
Precisely. Or maybe using tools like odds scanners that compare across different sites.
Okay.
Even just showing patterns that suggest you understand probability better than the average person. That can make you a target.
So basically, they're scanning for signs of smart play, intelligence almost?
You could say that. And once their system flags you as maybe a sharp bettor, well, then it reacts.
And how does it react?
One common tactic mentioned is something called stake factoring.
Stake factoring. Sounds clinical.
It is. It basically means they just drastically, and I mean drastically, cut the maximum amount you're allowed to bet.
How drastically are we talking?
The analysis mentions cases where limits were slashed to, like, pocket change, maybe $1 or $2, even on major sports events.
Wow. Okay, so that effectively stops a winning player in their tracks. You can't make any real profit betting pennies.
Pretty much. It's their way of politely showing you the door without actually banning you immediately.
Thanks, but no thanks. And the thing is, legally, they often can, right? Private businesses, right to refuse service.
Generally, yes. But what's really striking, and the source highlights this, is the contrast.
Contrast with what?
With how they treat consistent losers. If you're losing money to them regularly, they often roll out the red carpet.
Oh, right. Bonuses, free bets, keep 'em playing.
Exactly. Keep you engaged. But if you're a consistent winner, you're seen as, well, a problem.
A problem to be managed.
Or sometimes a problem to be removed. An outright ban isn't uncommon, and the reason given, often quite vague.
Like a generic terms of service violation?
Yeah, something like that.
Wow.
Even if the real underlying issue is simply that you won too often.
Now, there is an exception mentioned, which is interesting.
Yeah, the few platforms that actually like sharp bettors.
Right. Usually smaller, maybe more niche sites. Why do they welcome them?
Because they use the betting data from those sophisticated players to actually help them sharpen their own odds.
So the winners become a source of information, helping refine the house's models.
Exactly. For them, sharp bettors aren't just liabilities. They're like valuable data points.
But the source stresses these are the exceptions, not the rule.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
The vast majority of the big mainstream online betting sites, their model is built around and profits from recreational players, people who mostly lose over time.
So if you've ever won consistently for a while and then suddenly felt like the site was somehow working against you.
Yeah, got that paranoid feeling.
It probably wasn't just paranoia. It might just have been their standard operating procedure kicking in, their risk management system doing its job.
Exactly.
So wrapping this up, the key takeaway really is, for a lot of the big betting sites, being a consistent winner isn't actually the goal they want for their customers, despite the advertising.
No, it's a behavior they actively monitor and try to mitigate.
Through that profiling you mentioned, looking for smart play, value betting.
Right, and then using tools like that stake factoring, slashing limits, or even just banning accounts.
So the whole anyone can win image clashes pretty hard with a business reality for many operators. It really is about managing risks.
It is. They thrive when most people don't consistently beat them.
So, thinking about this, if winning effectively or winning too well can lead to restrictions, what does knowing that kind of behind-the-scenes reality mean for how you might approach betting?
Yeah. Or even just how you choose which platform you want to use. Definitely something to think about.